did.
Loc Talk. Loc Talk.
You did.
Welcome to episode 8 of the Loc Talk podcast with Karen and Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Karen.
Brian.
Really good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's raining.
Raining.
But it's
Actually
okay.
pouring.
We have an amazing guest today. I'm so excited to bring her on. And Brian, would you like to do the introduction?
Jocelyn
Hey.
Reneé, an amazing loctician, incredible educator, and we're super excited to hear about some new classes, and I'm super excited to hear about some new techniques, and one of Noggin Oil's first supporters. And
Yes.
Yeah,
You took the cat out of the bag. Jocelyn from Curly New Growth is one of our very first supporters and retailers of Noggin Oil. And you know what? For that, we are truly thankful and appreciate everything that you've done to support us. And we are here now supporting you. And we're going to have a great conversation. I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah. I'm grateful to you both for having created Noggin Oil and the amazing products that they are. So thank you. I can just reflect that gratitude back because what you created is amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's, I think sometimes the best products are those that fill a void or a gap in the market. You're not trying to duplicate something that already exists. And I think that we're getting a lot of great feedback from people such as yourself who actually, professionals who know what our purpose was behind the product line. So
absolutely. And then with the rolling application, that was like a game changer. So thank you.
Oh man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you ever try Glow? Did you get Glow?
I do have Glow. I haven't given it a try yet. I put it on my arm to how we're always just kind of smelling to see what does it smell like? What is it like? So definitely has the glow to it for sure. Smells nice. So I'm excited to try it. When I got the package, which I'm so grateful for, I really appreciate it. I bust open the wash. I use this stuff all the time. So have the wash. I'm still using the chill that I got originally. So I'm excited to have a stock of it now, but yeah, the wash is my go-to for sure.
Yes. And I'm sure people who have no idea what we're talking about, it's Brian and I have this product line called Noggin Oil. And so nogginoil.com, you should go and check it out. And check out Jocelyn's video. She does a whole demo and testimonial, about the product line. So, yeah.
And you know your products too, Jocelyn.
Yes, I have a product line, New Growth Essentials. Yeah.
New Growth Essentials. Yes, I was just going to say, let's stop talking about us and let's talk about you.
Yeah.
So New Growth Essentials, talk us through the product line.
So I formulated a product line to address something, like you said, that I didn't see in the marketplace, products for locks specifically that were created to nourish the hair, not cause any buildup, add to the natural locking process and not be something that is going to, cover up what you naturally have. I am a firm believer in cultivating locks as healthy and as natural as possible. And so out of that need and desire came New Growth Essentials.
Do you have the products with you? Can we see them?
I have some over there if you want me to get up and go grab them. They're always around because I use my own products, of course. So they're always around, but yeah.
So how many products are in the line?
They're formulated by myself. There are 6 products, and on the site, I do also retail other products to complete the line because I believe locks have just like fundamentals of care. You have to be able to cleanse them, strengthen them, protect them, and moisturize them. And I know me, myself, I'm not a chemist. I have yet to pursue that passion of mine into cosmetic chemistry. So I don't have a shampoo that I've derived, but I found some shampoos that have worked. And so I retail those as well as different bonnets and hair coverings because I am adverse to lint. So we have to make sure there's no lint anywhere near are locks. And so those are a couple of other products that I have in the collection there.
That's smart. I love that you're talking about supporting other companies where, you know, they complement the products that you have, and that brings everybody up. It supports all the people, which is good.
Absolutely. My foundation has always been to inspire and to empower. And so if I can do that with my platform for someone else that's out here trying to offer service, offer products that help to heal or nourish, like, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. And educate, and the service aspect as well. Like it all ties in together. Self-care, whether you're getting your locks maintained professionally or, you know, being taught how to do them at home. And you teach both professionals, and you teach people with locks who want to do their own work. Am I right?
Yes, it happened kind of organically. I started on YouTube actually, and I was just sharing my journey because I chopped off all my relaxed hair, and everyone around me, that like my family, close friends, they're just like, why would you do that? Your hair is so beautiful. Like you look like a boy, or like you have a little nappy head. Like it was just a lot of negative feedback that I got with my natural hair. So I started sharing just about what I was doing on YouTube, and I really created a community, and like women found me, and we shared our journeys and products. And then just naturally it started to evolve to me sharing advice. And I will be honest, it was a lot of horrible advice, but I was sharing my experience. And a cosmetologist who is now a friend of mine in the industry said to me one day, if you really cared about the industry, if you really cared about hair care, you would become licensed. Like you would actually learn about it. And so I was like, well, I'm going to cosmetology school. Like there's no question about it, because I do care. And so I'm just going to do it. And so then it just took off from there to be able to offer professional advice as well as education to consumers who, like me, were seeking something that was not readily available in their immediate circle.
Amazing. So
thank you.
How long did that whole process take, the cosmetology degree?
So here in Maryland, cosmetology is 1,500 hours. So it took me, the program is supposed to be 12 months. I did it in 10 months because I want to say 4 months into the program, I became pregnant with my son. And as you know, at the end of that, the baby was born. So I did not want to be hoping to graduate or hoping to finish up my 1,500 hours and be in labor, because I'd have to take maternity leave and then go back and do the semester over. So I went back to school. I want to say the program was every 3 days. It was Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I went Thursday, Friday as well. So I did 5 days for like the last month to like get all my hours so I could graduate before my son was born. I made it by 2 weeks.
Good for you. That's an amazing story, by the way. You fast tracked, and you're absolutely right. So many people, they start something, and then something comes up, and they don't finish it, and then they say, oh, I'm going to do it next year, or I'm going to do it 6 months. No, right? Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to get it done. And I had been in the industry for years prior to getting my cosmetology license. I worked as a salon assistant at a salon since I was 11, and I didn't go to cosmetology school until I was 24.
Wow.
It was like 23, because I had my son when I was 24. So 23. So I had been around hair and in the industry, in the salons for years, but I never pursued it like as a career. Everyone around me were like, everyone around me said I had to go to college, had to do the corporate America thing, which I did, and I hated it. And so I was like, I really want to do something for me. So I, like you said, I went to cosmetology school and I had to get it done. Like, there's no question.
And I bet you that salon that you were working at, you were doing a lot of relaxing and a lot of blowouts, and that was the bulk of your business, right?
Absolutely. At that time, everything was like, I say by volume business. So it wasn't that just value of like one-on-one interaction, helping people grow. It was like, get everybody in, have them wash their hair as soon as they get to the salon so they can't leave, and then let them sit around and wait to get service. And so that was like the mentality that I had been groomed under and trained. And that was also at a time when everyone was relaxing, like you said, and they started to shift as I started to grow up in the industry to more natural hair, but still no locks. There was no locks really being popularized or embraced, if you will, at the time.
Exactly.
What do you think? Do you want to fight?
We've done this before, just talked right on top of each other. Go, Brian.
Oh, you go.
No, you go.
So, what do you think is the biggest reason that locks have become so popular? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question, because there are certain reasons why people get locks. And I believe that for a large set of people that are getting locks right now, it's more so for the freedom or the rebellion of traditional standards or European standards of beauty in the textured hair community, or for people that are of color that are getting locks. But also within that space, there are people that are getting locks instantaneously, or like for just to try it out, just like a hairstyle, because they don't want to do their hair. And there has been a stigma of locks are unkept or just not maintained. And so like, if I want to be the laziest possible person with my hair, I'm going to get locks. So I think it depends on who you talk to about why they're becoming popular, but I do believe that it's a large part of people not wanting to relax. And so they're just like, if I don't relax my hair, I'm going to lock it. Or I just want to try something where I don't have to do anything. But I bet you they quickly realize you do have to care for locks, right? There's a whole world to it.
Oh my gosh, that's for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I stepping back to the topic about the salon, and I just sort of a side note, which is kind of interesting. You know, Brian refers to it as relaxed. You refer to it as relaxed. But the truth is that it's also called perm. And for people who don't realize this, and I talk about this in my education about the language of the industry, that perm just means permanent, and it can be straight or curly. So if you're talking to a Caucasian person, you say perm, you're referring to curly hair. And if you're referring to perm in a black salon, it's referring to straightening their hair. And I think that also transfers over to the word locks, right? Whether people refer to them as dreads, dreadlocks, or locks. And what's your take on the usage of the word?
So yes, I do agree with you that there's a language, sometimes an unspoken language, about the term that someone uses for their hair. I always say locks, and my growth in hair locking, and also as a human, individual being, spiritual being, because I recently have just connected my locks to my spiritual journey. So that was just like a level up for me in my own just growth, right? And so initially when I first started my locks, and I've had locks for 10 years at this point, when I first started my locks, I was adverse to the term dreads or dreadlocks, because I was taught, or I believed, that dreadlocks meant that the connotation was that it was negative, to whereas the locks were dreadful, and that is why people called them dreadlocks. I believe I've grown beyond that and now acknowledge that it's just a matter of preference. Like, some people want to say dreadlocks because that's what they know, and some people just want to say dreads because it's it's short. Like I don't believe that it deserves the power that it has had over people in this space and time. I believe you can call it what you want, but I'm going to refer to them as locks.
I love it. I'm on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah. My first business, the business before my brand before Modlocks was actually called Not Just Dreads, and it was not with a K. And I had that company for 10 years. That's where Brian and I actually met. He was a client of mine. And when, I don't know, like I had been thinking about a rebrand and just, I actually had a business partner. We won't get into that, but in my rebrand, in my brain, I thought, what am I going to call myself? I knew I wanted to move away from the word dreads. I was maturing from that. And I knew I wanted locks in the name, but again, the stigma of when you hear dreads, it's like, it's usually a Caucasian person referring to it. And if it's locks, it's POC. And so what is that harmonious name, right? Branding is super important. And that's why I really love your brand name as well. How did you get it?
Curly New Growth. So.
And you, New Growth.
Funny story. So,
funny stories.
Like I said, I started on YouTube, right? And again, I was just there to just share me. Like it wasn't as big as it is now. Like branding now is like super specific. When I first started just getting on social media, I want to say Folky. I don't know if you remember that or if you're privy to that. That was like the original like social media networking site for natural hair. And they said username. And I'm just like, what is my name going to be? I don't know, but I want my hair to be a part of it because remember, I chopped all my hair off. My hair is about 1 inch long. And I had only just discovered because I had been relaxing my hair since I was maybe 6. So 6 until 19, I've had a relaxer. So it was at 13 years. I'd never seen my natural hair because whenever my natural hair came in, I was like, oh my God, I got a relaxer. It's getting nappy. No, this can't happen. So when I chopped it off, I was like, oh my gosh, my hair is so curly. Wow. And then because it was so short, I was like, oh, it's just curly new growth. I'll do that. But then I typed like curly N-E-W and I was like, that looks dumb. I wanted to be like Nubian. So curly new N-U growth. And so that's how it came to be, right? That's where curly new growth was born. And I just have grown with it since was 2010, 10 years. I had that name. Well, 2009, because that's when I first started like online. But yeah, that's
super cool. It has a nice ring to it. I have a relaxer story. Karen, you've never heard this.
Do tell.
So when I was 11 years old, my mother, who used to take care of the whole family's hair, my dad, my sister, everybody, she decided that she wanted to relax my hair and my sister's hair for the first time.
How old are you?
11.
Okay.
So it was in the summer and went through the process. I was just sitting there, whatever, and didn't really make a difference to me. And then I went swimming. So we had a neighborhood pool.
Yeah.
And my hair was pretty long at the time. And I dove into the water after the relaxer. And usually when I came up, my hair was still pretty coily, curly, and the water didn't get to the roots yet kind of thing. Like I needed to do like 3 dunks before it got to the roots. After the relaxer, I dove in, my head came up and it was just like stuck to my head. It was such a rush. I have a feeling that's why I became a hairstylist, because it was such an incredibly insane feeling to go from curly, nappy, tight to like bone straight, stuck to your head from water. And
my world.
transformative.
It's an addictive sort of a thing, and I did it for years too.
You relaxed your hair for years?
Oh yeah, years.
Oh wow.
And my sister, she stopped I don't know, maybe like 8 years ago. So it was a big part of our lives too.
Well, I feel that we always kind of were curious about what we don't have, right? So for me, my hair is so straight. I grew up with that, and it would drive me bonkers if I was swimming, because it would just be like, I'd be like the Grudge. You know, my hair would just fall in front of my face. Ah. And so, you know, I wanted curl, I wanted texture, I wanted volume. And that's the beautiful thing about locks is it does that. It'll give straight, fine hair volume, and it'll control and tame curlier, voluminous hair, right? It's pretty cool.
Beautiful.
So,
It's a very transformative process on so many levels.
yeah.
On your Instagram, I noticed that you're promoting brushing locks.
Yes, absolutely. They're hands down. Like I'm pro lock brushing. It's a very controversial topic I found, but I brush my locks proudly.
Can you talk more about it? Because there's a lot of people, I feel this was sort of introduced to me only in the last, actually, you might have been the person where I was like, what is this about? And it made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So tell everyone else what, you know, what the process is and how you kind of came to the realization that that's a good thing for your locks.
So in the moment, I'm really trying to think about where it came from or where I stumbled upon it or how the brush first hit my locks. I can't recall exactly, but I do know that this is my third set of locks. My first set, I had sister locks, and I didn't really have many issues with them other than like the bunching and my texture. But when I went to my second set, which were traditional locks and much thicker than the sister locks, and I was using products and, you know, just using or trying to use information that I found online, because again, I was not yet in cosmetology school. I was just talking about my blog and talking out the side of my neck, honestly. I discovered so much lint and like product in my hair, and I was like, how can I get it out? So I want to say probably one day I just was just like, let me just try to brush it out. Let me try to get it out. And I started lock brushing, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is a thing. It feels so good. And then the lint was coming out, and I'm just like, oh no, this is it. You know, like lock brushing, this is totally a thing. And I want to say I then created a video about like the benefits to lock brushing, how to do it, what the differences are. And I've been doing it ever since. And I honestly haven't had any adverse effects from lock brushing, even with my son who just recently started locks. Children with locks, they're like lint magnets. So I have to brush his locks all the time. I've even got him to the point of, I wish I could grab my phone. This morning, he took his math cubes, like little manipulative blocks. He created a brush, and he was brushing my hair with the blocks. It was like, and I said, I recorded him. I said, what are you doing to mommy's hair? He said, I'm getting the lint out of your hair. I'm just like, this is so cute. But it's like, you train them early, and then your locks don't have to go through the things that my last set had to go through.
Right.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to experiment a little bit with different textures of hair with lock brushing, because I think that some people with locks that have straight hair would worry that it would, you know, pull some of the hairs out and make it fray more and that kind of a thing. Do you know of anybody with straight hair? I've never, you know, I should just get myself a brush. What kind of brush do you use?
So I use a soft bristle brush when I am just trying to gently remove any type of surface debris, or just honestly, you can use it with your moisturizer. Spray your moisturizer and then brush, and it actually helps the moisturizer to penetrate deeper into the locks.
Oh.
And so for straighter textures of hair, I would encourage you to do it when it's a little bit wet with like a moisturizer versus doing it dry, because a dry one would probably pull things out, versus when it's wet, it would be able to like smooth it out, and it would be able to dry in the state that you want it to be in, which is like more compacted into the locks.
Interesting. I'll have to play around with that a little bit. I think it also depends definitely on the type of brush that you're using. This is sort of a small, you know, boar bristle brush, right?
Yes.
Very, very soft. It does feel nice though.
It's therapeutic, I think, honestly.
Definitely goes against the idea though that you would think is good, because it sort of like the first thing you think is it's going to make it fuzzier.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have to try it. I think it's the first time I've ever heard of that. So
Really, that's so
yeah,
interesting.
super cool.
But I can't do lint. That's just no for me. I choose frizzy locks over lint anyway.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, I think you're going to definitely have a few people listening to this being like, oh, I learned something.
Absolutely. Head over to curlyknitropes.com, search lock brushing. You'll see a full tutorial of how to do it, type of brush you need, type of moisturizers you can use. It's a thing.
Good.
And then I want to hear about your interlocking class coming up in November. Can you give us a little bit more information about that?
Yeah, so in November, I'm hosting a certification training for professionals that are interested in learning how to interlock their hair, start locks with interlocking, maintain locks with interlocking, because interlocking is one of those techniques that gets a bad rap because people often say like it causes holes, it causes thinning, it causes breakage. I'm just like, whoa. You're not doing it properly. So if you learn properly from a professional or a certified loctician how to execute the technique, you won't have the things like holes and thinning, breakage, weaknesses of the lock. But a lot of times people just don't want to invest the time, the money to learn properly. They rather do it on their own or just continue to perpetuate a negative connotation about something. But I believe interlocking was my first introduction into locks. Like professionally, I went to sister lock training and I fell in love with the beauty of interlocking. And so I would like to just give that back, help people to understand how to properly interlock and cultivate locks using interlocking so that they are healthy, so that they're strong, so that you can repair locks and not have to worry about thinning and breakage, because interlocking is really, really amazing. And it's one of those things in your toolkit and your bag that will just take you far with all textures of hair.
Interesting.
Do you use the crochet hook with the interlocking?
So I don't use a crochet hook when I interlock, but it can be done that way. I know for straighter textures of hair, sometimes at the root, the grooming is done with the crochet hook. Mm-hmm. But there may be times we have really long pieces of hair that just won't stay in no matter what you do. You can interlock them and that will incorporate the hair back into the lock, and you will have a greater likelihood that it will not come back out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's interesting because, as you know, talking about interlocking, when I started in the industry, interlocking was the only method, really the only professional method out there. And when I started, there was barely an internet, let alone social media. and I, for those reasons, did not interlock, because I knew that for definitely straighter textures, it could cause a lot of holes because it would be more visible because of the texture.
Yeah.
But the biggest complaint that people had was that they would lose their length, right? The more interlocking, the more you pull it through onto itself, the more you're kind of coiling it and creating this shrinkage. And so people would be like, well, my hair's really growing, but then you interlock it and you lose the inch or 2 inches of hair. So that's when I was problem solving to come up with a solution to combat that particular problem. But I've always sort of stood behind, if you like the look of interlocking, I can't speak otherwise to that. That's an aesthetic that you like. But I was very not against. I was never against interlock. Okay, I lie. Early in my career, I was like, interlocking bad. But it definitely works for textured hair, and predominantly most of my clients would either have straight or mixed textures.
Yeah.
Soft curl. And again, the benefit was they would get the maximum length from their hair. And so that's when I started to do obviously more textures. But in my experience over 2 decades, obviously, I am much more open-minded about different techniques for different purposes, what works for you works for you. But now we are sharing that information with the world, and there are pros and cons to everything.
And that is honestly, so that's the class I have in November. Currently, right now, I am hosting a multicultural loctician certification training. And I'm doing that because of the difference in hair types and curl patterns. They're so vast, and the way the world is moving, they're only going to become more complex, and there's going to be a lot more crossover. So to only know one particular texture or type of hair is limiting, especially in the lock industry, because of different types of people wanting locks. And so I do agree with you. Like, well, I won't say I agree with you. I want to say it's it's shocking, but like in like a duh kind of way, that straighter texture of hair would lose length with interlocking because of the pattern building. But with curly textures of hair, you gain length. So I'm like, even that is just like a mind-blowing experience to me. You know?
True.
That duality is just, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, you would gain length in interlocking because you would stretch out the curl pattern, but because you're pulling it through onto itself so many times, then you can kind of
You lose it.
Yeah. But I'm saying with textured hair as well, if you're over interlocking, inevitably if you take it and you flip it around and around and around, it's going to lose length because it's just coiling onto itself. So can you talk through more to that?
Yeah. So so with interlocking, there are different rotational patterns that are used, and yes, there's a pattern that's used, a rotation pattern that is used that would cause it to curl on itself. And that pattern is often used for people that want more volume than they want length. There's also patterns that elongate the curl pattern because they stretch it out over time. And so again, that's why those little details are why it matters to learn how to properly do it, and why you need consultations for someone. Because some people are like, I just want volume. And some people are just like, I just want length. And some people are like, I just want to be able to like wash my hair every 3 days and not have to worry about it unraveling. And so knowing what someone's goal is with their locks will help you cultivate the experience that they're looking for.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I learned something. That's amazing. You're right, because for me, I kind of knew that there are different ways to obviously pull the lock through onto itself, different patterns. But again, early on in my career, when there was not a lot of information out there, and if you're not in a circle, like, I mean, I had my salon by myself for a long time. I was isolated, you know, and a lot of people that would get it done would complain ultimately that they would lose length. That was their biggest complaint. So now I can say, hey, there are methods out there that actually help to maintain the length as much as possible. That's cool.
And it's crazy now that you talk about how you had your own space at one time and without the internet. And I feel like everyone went to a salon and I opened it up, and now everyone's going back in. Everyone's getting sweet and like going away, but we got the internet. So,
yes.
So we'll see. I'm so curious to see how the industry transforms with that like paradigm of just go by yourself, go to your suite, and that's just going to be the best thing for you. So curious.
Yeah.
Backlash.
What's that?
I think the pendulum will swing back again inevitably at some point.
But what will it look like though? You know, I feel like it can't look like how it's been before, you know, with the super open concept, everyone talking and sharing and interacting in the salon, to everyone like going by themselves and seemingly gaining all this knowledge to then go back to an open space and share it or hold it or say, you know, you got to put this barrier around me because I'm talking about something that you don't know yet. And I don't want to share with you. It's going to be so interesting.
Well, that's one of the things that Loc Talk is all about. I mean, that's part of the reason we developed this whole forum, is because there's so many incredible people out there that have all these different techniques, all this incredible knowledge and this experience that, I mean, it's a great thing to bring us all together and share and break down the barriers, you know, and just get more love happening in the community, love and acceptance. And so.
And you've actually made me think of a new idea. What do you think of this? This is just off the top of my head. Every guest that we have on the show can nominate another person they think should be on the show.
That's amazing.
Cool.
I love that.
You are the first
I
person.
love that.
Who would you like to nominate?
Oh my gosh, it's so many people. I would like to nominate, I would say Susan Peterson Bishop, one of the co-founders of the Natural Hair Industry Convention. She's also the owner of Jaha Hair Studios, and she's been in the industry. She's one of the master pioneers. So I personally would love to hear her journey and her evolution from salon ownership to conference building to connecting all different types of professionals.
I'm definitely reaching out to Susan. She's on my list. and actually that's how we met, right? We met at the Hair Industry Convention.
Yeah.
You took my class?
Yes, absolutely, of course. I had the foresight to see like crocheting is a thing, and I'm like trying to do it at home and it's not working. Like, let me learn from somebody who's doing amazing work. Why wouldn't I? I still have my Mod Locks bag. I still use my Mod Locks magnetic wrist thing. Like, training was amazing.
Oh, I'm so glad that we got to connect today. This has been amazing. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, like your socials? You mentioned the website and your what about your Instagram, Facebook? What other platforms?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much everywhere. Curly New Growth is my handle on YouTube. My blog is curlynewgrowth.com. The products are newgrowthessentials.com. I'm actually launching merchandise, some merch starting tomorrow. I'm so excited.
Tomorrow. So when this airs, it's already going to be out.
Go ahead and grab you a shirt. I'm going to have accessories, lock jewelry. I'm so excited about that. Everything will be available, of course, at curlynewgrowth.com. I do have a podcast too, which is Salon Frequency. So definitely check that out too. We'll have to have you on as a guest, have you both on as a guest. That would be an awesome conversation. And what else? Products, New Growth Essentials. Oh, New Growth Academy, of course. If you're interested in education and classes, come on over.
You are a busy lady. Do you have one boy?
2 children. I have a son and a daughter, and I'm a wife and a sister and friend and so many things.
Very busy lady. They always say, if you want something done, give it to a busy person.
It's true.
That's truth. That is truth. I'll have to tell my husband that.
I've had such a great conversation today, Jocelyn.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Likewise. I'm surprised. It went by so quickly, but this was great.
That's what everybody says too.
Everyone says that.
I know. We could talk for hours, and I think down the road we'll always bring people back and have another conversation. But I would love to be a guest on your podcast.
Me
Thank
too.
you so much. Yes, this would be awesome. I want to hear more about this relaxing. Definitely want to hear more about how you transitioned and rebranded your salon. So many great topics to talk about. So absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you again, Jocelyn. And we will be in touch, and have a wonderful, blessed day.
You too. Thank you for having me. This is great.
Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Loc Talk. Loc Talk. Excellent.
Did.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Loc Talk with Karen and Brian.